Hi everybody and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're making Sally's Date Delights. Now Delight, these biscuits are amazing. The flavour combinations for such basic ingredients are beautiful. So I'm going to show you how to make it. To start this recipe, we're going to cream our butter and sugar together. So we need 100 grams of sugar. I've got my new scales here that have a little dish on them so that I can hopefully make less mess. Oh, I need to zero it out. So 100 grams of sugar, which should be about 2 scoops. 100 grams, so straight into your bowl. And then we have 75 grams of softened butter. I've just let that sit on the bench until it softens at room temperature, not straight out of the fridge because you will have too much trouble combining it. But if you do get it straight out of your fridge, it just means a bit more work. It's not the end of the world. So in with the butter. Now once again, I love a recipe that is just a wooden spoon and a bowl. I'm in heaven. This is all we need. So I'm just going to smash the butter into my sugar and just start that combining. And it'll thin out because you can feel the sugar start to dissolve in the butter. And that's the creaming process of your butter and your sugar together. But you can do that by hand, you don't need a mixer. So I've continued to stir that for about 30 seconds. And you can see that it's lightened in colour. It's still gritty with sugar, the sugar hasn't dissolved, but that's fine, that's creamed enough. So now we're just going to add an egg. 1 egg. In it goes. Now when you put your egg in your bowl and you start to combine it with your butter, it doesn't go in, it doesn't combine nicely. That's normal, don't worry, just keep stirring it. So once again, I've probably been mixing that for about 30 seconds and it's really nicely combined. Set that aside and then we'll get to our flavourings. So to start with, we're using vanilla extract. Now use a good vanilla extract or one that you've made yourself. Now it says half a tablespoon, so half a tablespoon. I am always heavy-handed, so that's probably 3/4 of a tablespoon, but that's okay. I love vanilla. Now I'm putting the vanilla into this little cup because I want to put some instant coffee in here and I want it to dissolve before we put it into our batter. So half a teaspoon of coffee. It's not much, but the flavour does go through the biscuits. Only ever so slightly though. So even if you don't like coffee, it's not enough to turn you off these biscuits. So half a teaspoon. And then I'm just going to mix that so that the coffee dissolves in the vanilla. Now you can use whatever instant coffee you like, but just make sure it's one that you like to drink. If you're an instant coffee drinker, which I am guilty of. So then just pop that in. And then we just stir that through. Stir it through, make sure it's lovely and nicely combined. Now if your mix ever does get that what they call curdled look about it, don't worry about it. Sometimes that just happens when you add liquid to butter. It just does it. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your mixture. Well, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with mixture in my house if it goes like that. If it puts you off in any way, just add a little bit of flour. If you add a tiny little bit of flour, which we know we're putting in the biscuits anyway, it'll stop that from happening. So as you can see by me adding that little bit of flour, it's straight away, it's stopped that curdle look. It's fine. So if ever you're on one of those cooking shows and they say to you, oh, your mix is split, quickly add some flour. It's not split at all. Oh, that smells amazing. So now we're just going to add a little pinch of salt. The salt's optional in this recipe, but I put a pinch of salt in everything. So I'm going with the salt. And then we're adding baking powder and then our flour and then our dates. And that's it. That's these biscuits done. So simple. And I didn't tell you to turn the oven on. The oven is preheating 180, but I've got mine at 160 because it's fan forced. So now we're adding half a teaspoon of baking powder. Now that's not much, is it? So I'm going to put that in. I'm not worrying about sifting or anything with this recipe. I was assured it was simple, and it is. So I've got my baking powder in. So now I'm just gonna add my flour, 130 grams of flour. Now I know I put a little bit of flour in there, but it wasn't enough for me to worry about compromising on this weight. So I'm going still with my 130 grams. 130, perfect. So pop that in. No sifting, no nothing. Just you, your bowl and your wooden spoon. And just stir it up. Now Sally says don't overmix it. Don't overmix your mix at this stage. So as you can see, it's stiff but light. So now the last ingredient is our dates. Now I've chopped my dates relatively fine, but you can chop them however you like. So in they go, and then just stir it all together. So that's it, it's all well combined. It looks fantastic and it smells amazing. That tiny little bit of coffee, half a teaspoon, and it's just enough. So now we're just gonna spoon these onto our trays. Now I've just got my trays here with a piece of paper that once again I will continue to reuse, but I've got a fresh piece today, a fresh starter. So usually I would roll my biscuits in my hands and flatten them out, but this isn't that sort of biscuit, so we need 2 teaspoons. So I'm just gonna get little teaspoons full and dollop them onto my trays. Now you can make these as small or as big as you like. You know me, I like to try and get as many biscuits out of a recipe as I can. Actually, I think that's what Sally's instructions said, about a tablespoonful. So let's stick to that. So once again, on your tray, I'll move this so you can see what I'm doing. Now just alternate your little lines. So put 3, then 2. You are gonna love this recipe. Thanks again, Sally, and thank you, Carlo, for sending it in. It's great that you can help out with that when some of our relatives don't have access to computers or just, you know, they're just too overwhelmed with the process of sending things in. So that's where you come in handy. You've been fantastic. So I'm gonna get about, what have I got? 3, 6, 8, 10. So I'm gonna get about 13 on this tray. And then we're gonna pop them in the oven. And then we'll do our next tray. So when I'm making biscuits, I always halve my time because I never know how quick they're gonna cook. So if the recipe says about 10 to 12 minutes, I'm gonna set my timer for about 5 to 6 minutes because I wanna have a look at them. And that time goes so fast. I don't know about you, but I get so distracted in my kitchen. So I'm gonna set it for 6 minutes. And then I'll have a quick, no, I won't have a quick tidy up because we're gonna do another tray. So I'm gonna set that for 6 minutes and I'm just gonna put that there while we make the next tray. So hopefully we can get another 13 on this tray. Let's see how we go. Now I did have to make mention of my number 2 bowl that I have here. Now I know it does look like it's enamel, but it's not. It's china, it's not enamel, and it's meant to look like enamel, which did trick a couple of you, but it's not, it's china. And that's why I have to be so careful with it in this sink that I've got behind me because, oh, the day that I chip it or anything, I'll be devastated, honestly. It's my favourite bowl. So once again, just spooning onto your tray, simple, simple, simple biscuits. Now try not to do what I do and just get bigger and bigger as you go. Reminds me of that song, your nips are getting bigger. Well, my spoonfuls are getting bigger. Oops. Bigger and messier. So there's our last biscuit. So our first tray had 13 and this one has 12. So that's 25 biscuits. Basic ingredients, 1 egg. Usually when I'm making biscuits, I only do 1 tray at a time, but this one I know I can do 2 and I'm just gonna alternate the trays. So I'm gonna pop these in. Oh, they smell so good. It smells like the Cookie Man. Now I don't think we have a Cookie Man here in Australia anymore. Well, not that I'm aware of. You used to be able to walk into the shopping centres and you'd just get smacked in the face with the smell of cookies. And didn't that draw you to those, what were they called? can't think of what they're called, brandy snaps. That was them, the brandy snaps, the thin, and you could just walk around the shopping centre eating the entire bag. The good old days. I'll have to take my own bag of cookies. Not that I go to a shopping centre, it's a place I try and avoid. Me and shopping, not a good thing. It's not something I enjoy. I know I should enjoy walking around the shops, looking at things and buying, but I just don't like it. If I have to go to the shops, I beeline it for what I want and then I'm out. I am done. I'm not hanging out in those places. I don't know. Too many people, too many decisions, too much money to be spent. It's probably my thing. Now that was my 6-minute timer. I can see that the front of my tray of biscuits is cooking quicker than the back. So having your timer set at the halfway mark gives you that option to rotate your biscuits. My oven gets hotter at the front than it does at the back, which I think that's unusual. But anyway, that's what it does. It doesn't bother me. So now I've put those back in. I'm probably going to set that for about another 5 minutes, but I'm going to stay around and keep an eye on them. They're cooking quite quickly. I better get that kettle on, or the coffee machine. Coffee machine. Now when I'm in my kitchen, I always clean up as I go. So now when you're waiting on your biscuits is a chance that you can wash your bowls and clean up and do a couple of those little things. So when your biscuits come out, you can just grab your coffee and a couple of those biscuits and you're done. So my first tray of biscuits is almost ready, 9 to 10 minutes and your biscuits are done. So I'm gonna take that first tray out because they're on the top shelf in my oven, and then I'm just gonna bring that second tray up to the top shelf. And then we are done. There's our biscuits. Oh, now I'm just gonna let these cool on the tray and they're gonna become these chewy date vanilla coffee biscuits. You will not believe how good these taste. They are amazing. Thanks again, Sally. Once your biscuits have had a chance to cool a little bit and they're not super soft, then you can just lift them out and pop them on your tray. I slid that one and it got bent, so that's why you don't touch them when they're really soft. So just pop them out onto your tray, and honestly, you wait until you try these biscuits. They are so delicious. And like I always say, keep your baking paper. Reuse your paper until you can't reuse it anymore. They're nicely browned on the bottom, they're nicely browned on the top. They're a beautiful little biscuit and they smell amazing. Now I did pop these in the freezer, they freeze really well. I don't know about eat them frozen, haven't tried that yet. Well, I'm not aware that anybody else in my household has. They probably have. So that's our second tray of biscuits out and they look beautiful. They smell beautiful. So once again, just leave them sit here on your tray. Now, if I was to show you those now, they're so soft, they're cakey soft. So just let them cool, let them set, and then you can lift them out without making wonky ones like I did. So once they've had a chance to cool a little bit, just pop them out straight onto your trays. Those ones I put too close together, so they stuck, but that's fine. I'm not bothered by things like that. Look at how the little pieces of date pop up through the biscuit. They're just beautiful. I like that one, that's gonna be mine. So there you have it, Sally's Date Delights. Now, are they a cookie? Are they a biscuit? They are beautiful is what I know. Now, when we open, these are still nice and warm and soft, but they are so biscuity, they are so yummy, they are chewy. You can taste the hint of coffee, but the vanilla and the date together is amazing. So give this recipe a go. Once again, basic ingredients, a bowl, a wooden spoon. You can't go wrong with this recipe. I hope you try it. In the meantime, like and subscribe and keep sending your recipes in. So if you have anything that you think I'd like to make, send it in. The email is on the front page. I'm gonna go and make a coffee and have a biscuit. See you next time.